All right, just waiting for YouTube to catch up with the real life. There we go. All right, so we got sound and we got video, and that means we can have a YouTube video. How about that? All righty. So youtube.com/coachstevemoney. That's where you are exactly right now. And if you are interested in further financial content, you can scroll down to the answering your financial questions playlist. That is this stream here, and today is episode number 106 of those, so plenty of those to watch. The music playlist, there's 9, soon to be 11 Ramsey adjacent songs in there, so give those a listen if you're so inclined. And of course, the Ramsey Show After Show. And there are 377 of those. 378 is going to be on Wednesday, July 17th. Alrighty, let's do some questions. I admit I have a problem. Oh, that's right, I already opened it because I knew it was going to be more. No, it's not that long. But more than just the one little paragraph shows on the main page. All right, so I admit I have a problem. How did you stop using credit cards? All right. I get tired of making the payments, seeing that money go to someone else. And it was like a bunch of it's on stuff that, like, it's not even stuff that I could look at, like, oh, I bought this, like a beautiful vase or something, like a beautiful vase or something like that, which of course I wouldn't buy anyway. But like something like that where you could see it. It was like going out to dinner or something like that, probably, for most of it. A couple of things were like stuff that my ex-wife and I sold while we were paying off the cards. But most of it was just, like I said, it's like stuff like going out to dinner, just to spend money, that kind of thing, where you did, where it's not, wasn't necessary to do that. And then also on top of that, you pay for that amount, plus now you're paying interest on it if you don't do like the disciplined people do, that say, well, I'm going to be disciplined and pay it off every month. And that way I build credit and then get the rewards. Yeah, not advised. And so, yeah, so I just got tired of it and just stopped. Now, if you actually have a problem with it and you can't get to a place where, if you're in a place where you know it's a bad idea and you do it anyway, that is when it begins to be a problem and you may need counseling. Let's see what this person says here. Baby step one, flare. Posted this on another Reddit, but I think I'll get a different audience here, maybe. I've been living outside of my means for around a decade now. That's a long time to be stretching the debt. 32 and started swiping credit cards in my early 20s. Yep. I could make excuses for some of it, but mostly got addicted to wanting something and having it immediately. Right now, right now, right now, right now. Yep, that's the whole deal. People want it right now. And instead of thinking about, well, I can afford this because I can put it on this card. How about I can afford this is because I can pay cash on it. I can put it in my budget and pay cash for that. And so that would be a better way of deciding that you can afford it. See, I've been blessed by most of my life by having get out of jail free cards and whether it's family, inheritance, tax return, bonus, etc. I grew up in above average family financially, and as a single kid, mostly got whatever I want. Mostly, that's two mostly so far. I did not set up that sound bite from Aliens. I need to do that though. It created a tendency to spend outside my means I never really grew out of. Yep, that can happen. So, especially when it ends up being taken care of, like you said, either like family inheritance, you get tax returns at the right time, uh, you get a bonus and stuff, and that takes care of your overspending. And so, but meanwhile, if you're not doing the overspending, you know how much better off the person could be, how further along the baby steps the person could be. Let's see. I'm in 30s now, and outside of selling my inherited home, I basically have no safety net left. I have no. Yeah, it always runs out. That kind of like luck and such, that always runs out. If you are living beyond your means, it is going to catch up with you eventually. I have approximately 20K in unsecured debt, and my wife and I make a combined income of 100K to 120K, depending on bonus payouts over the year. We have no savings, and our bills are pretty high. We paid them all off once before to turn around and max them out again less than a year later. Yep, that's a problem. I say all of this to ask people who've been through it, how did you beat the addiction? Again, you might need counseling for this, but I just got tired of making payments to Discover Card and whoever else it was. I think it was a Chase credit card was one of them. I tried cutting up the cards, deleting them from my phone. I'll do okay for a while, but eventually something will happen. Well, I feel like I need to utilize some of my credit limit, and it opens up the can of worms again. Yeah, you gotta delve into where you feel like you need to do that. And because, I mean, you have the asterisks on either side of it, so you know darn well you did not need to. You knew you just felt like you need to. And so, whether that's an escape, I mean, some people do that. That's retail therapy. People do have that. They like buy something and they feel better momentarily. Now, let's see, I opened up my wife of 2 years about this and how bad it's been over the years. I've mostly handled anything money related, and we've agreed that it has to stop. Things never fly around me until I'm doing streams. What is up with that? I just can't be trusted with credit. I'm not paying them for being on the stream. I just can't be trusted with credit. I was embarrassed of myself to even talk to her about it. Have you been through this before and know somebody who has, what advice can you give? I would just have to say counseling for something like that, because I mean, you admitted you have a problem with it, and apparently it's where you think you need to. And why is that? Why do you think you need to use some credit limit? You need to close up those accounts. Not only cut up the cards and delete them from your phone, but you also close the accounts, so that puts one more barrier into you. Sure, they will give you another credit card or a line of credit if you ask again, but that's one more step that you would have to do. So make it harder for yourself to do that. Let's just take a look, see if are you buying online. This person puts something in the cart and leaves it there. Rachel Cruz is a person that does that as well. She said she puts stuff in the cart all the time, just because it does something for her to put it in the cart, but then she doesn't buy it. Let's see, 20K deep if high interest loans, need a reason to stop spending. Yeah. No, I don't think he needs a reason. I think he actually can't stop himself. Yeah, truly addicted. Yep. Close the cards, right? You close that account, and that makes it one more step that you have to do. And by that time, you might be able that one extra step may keep you from doing it. Hopefully. Let's see. This person on 4, 5, and 6 hit rock bottom, decided to file Chapter 13 bankruptcy, which basically forced us to not be able to use credit cards. Yep. Not looking to file, the OP says not looking to file bankruptcy, but considered a lot. Can you share your experience? I mean, making 100,000 and owing 20K, you're not bankrupt. So yeah, don't file it over 20. Okay, yeah, we cut up ours and closed the accounts. Closing the accounts is the thing, and that's what you failed to do last time. And for whatever reason, maybe dependence on the credit limit, maybe it being the same problem is why you didn't close the accounts. And so, yeah, counseling if you need to, but you can try closing the accounts and see if adding that extra step gives you pause when you try to go back into that there. And of course, definitely open communication with wife about it. Absolutely. Right, difference head, 1754. I got a difference head. Better than the rest, got a difference head. You guys remember that song, Machine Head? Sell newish car to pay off older truck or just keep paying on it. My wife, let's see what we think. Go ahead and open up. Got 9 crinkly water bottle today. You're welcome. Wife and I have 2 vehicles. One is 2014 F350, which we have 28K on. Bought it 2 years ago when everything was high. Blue book for 38. When we bought it, it's closer to 23. Yep. Depreciation is a thing. 2021 RAV4 we bought new and have paid off. It's worth around 23K. Sell the RAV4, use 5K to pay negative equity when selling the truck. Use the rest of the money, buy 2 cheaper cars for cash. Yep. Or B, sell the truck and take out a loan for the 5K negative equity. And keep the RAV4. No, I would do the first thing because the first thing doesn't involve taking out a loan for the negative equity. So you can sell the RAV4 and you can pay off the negative equity and the truck, pay and sell the truck, and then with the rest of the money, you can buy 2 cheaper cars for cash, like you said. Other info, we only have one other non-mortgage debt, a 0% credit card for 23K. So the truck isn't even technically next on our snowball. Yeah, but you're still allowed to get rid of it like that when you are on the baby steps. So you don't need to wait until you're on that step to make a move like that to definitely get rid of a $28,000 loan, turn that into a $0 loan by selling the vehicle, definitely. And they get 2 cash cars, and then you would get on that 23K credit card. Household income about around 150,000, so that's 3 figures. So nobody's going to feel sorry for or be able to relate to these people. Let's see, after required pension contributions, health insurance, life insurance, and all bills, we have around 800 extra on top of minimums to put towards the debt. Yeah, I would challenge you to try to find more than that. Find other stuff that you bought with debt that you have laying around that you can sell. And take another swipe at that budget and cut stuff out. Investing, and also where can I open an ESA? Today I decided to start moving towards investments more. 2 major things I want to invest in. Hopefully you are familiar with the baby steps, and you wouldn't be doing that until step 4. So that means you don't have any debt and you have a full emergency fund. Invest in my family's future is for college for my son, a down payment for a house in the future. I signed up to be contacted by Smart Vista Pros. Good idea, bad idea, we'll find out. But also watch the YouTube video on brokerage accounts through Schwab, Fidelity, and Vanguard. I decided to open an account with Vanguard and only now familiarizing myself with the website. First problem is the world seems to think ESAs are a thing of the past, even though they're not. They're not. They're one of, you can do ESA, or you can do a 529, which is a state-specific plan. Educational Savings Account is what that stands for. So Vanguard nor Fidelity offers them? Okay, I don't know then. I don't know. You can check your bank, but generally the investing through the bank is not going to be the best. I would just Google it. Let's see, and how would I go about managing it if I opt out of the Smart Vista Pro route? You just manage it like you do any other account. You transfer cash to the brokerage account. In this case, it would be to the ESA account in a brokerage. And once the cash is in there, then you use that cash to buy whatever investment, whatever mutual fund that you are going to use for that ECA investing. What resources are there that can simplify running my own brokerage account through Vanguard or any other company for the uncharted territory for me? It's all on this wonderful thing we call the internet. You can have, I mean, many people get overwhelmed by it because they don't know where to start. And I think most of them have a mental block because it is not that difficult. Once you commit to trying to learn about investing, then you can learn about it. You have to commit to it first and put more time in that than watching cat videos on the internet. You actually must do that. The first thing I would do is go to the Ramsey show, actually the highlights channel, and do a search on there for Ramsey investing and watch every single video that they have, every single highlight that they have, and take notes on it if you have to, if you can't remember everything that Dave is saying about it. But he tells you what to look for when trying to pick mutual funds. And especially, I mean, in the ESA, I mean, you could just use S&P index, NASDAQ index. Don't sleep on the NASDAQ. That's tech stocks. That's been kicking S&P's butt the past 20 years. So don't sleep on that. But S&P 500 is fine. Like for an ESA, for a retirement account, Dave does recommend managed funds because those can beat the index if you find good ones, and it is not that difficult to do that. And so I didn't know anything about investing either. I taught myself through the internets, of course, and combined with Dave's advice on them, among which is the fund has to have at least a 10-year track record, and you want it to beat the 10% average per year that the S&P 500 gets. And so that's how you would do that. But yeah, it can be learned about, definitely. You just got to commit to doing it. And if you have some kind of you're like scared of it and you don't want to make a mistake, that kind of thing, well, that's when you have to pay somebody to teach you, manage your stuff for you and teach you about it then. And that's where your SmartVestor Pros would come in. Mike Opal, how to pay off debt, get the things needed, and enjoy time with kids before they're grown. Okay, this is likely somebody that is gonna. I want to pay off my debt though, but I want to enjoy the now too. You already had time to enjoy the now while you were running up all that debt. You already did that, and you will get people like this to say, well, is there no room for nuance? Do I have to do the baby steps exactly as written, or is there no room for nuance? Your nuance happened when you were running up your stupid debt, which is why you're here, to get advice to do this stuff. Here, or of course on the Ramsey Show channel or on his website and so forth. Let's see. Okay. Struggling with plans for getting debt free while also balancing the need. Almost always have to have a quotes there because most times when people say need, they don't actually need it. And on baby steps 1 and 2, in order for you to spend money on it, it has to be an actual need, not just something that you want to do. Let's see. The need for things that will make my life easier. No, you don't need to. Your life was easier when you were racking up the debt. Now it's going to be hard, tough, and doing things to enjoy the kids. You can enjoy them without spending money. Let's see. Other than our home, the only outstanding debt is $44,500 on a 2023 Sienna. Sell it then. 21-year-old car died last fall, and we purchased that with the intent to keep it for 20 years. So, but you no matter how long you keep it, you should never finance a car. So that was wrong. Maybe you didn't hear about Dave until after you bought that. If you did, you already knew he's the no debt guy. There's no debt. There's no paying cash for. I mean, there's only paying cash for cars. There is no car loans in his plan. Are no car loans in his plan. Household income's $241,000, okay? And so right there, you've lost everybody feeling sorry for you. You have lost everybody feeling sorry for you. And granted, because they think about themselves with their 60 or less K per year job. And so they don't have any sympathy for you at all. So I can't help you with that. So, I mean, I can relate because generally you would have more debt than they would, but just you have managed to keep it down low, or you paid off the rest so far, except for that dumb Sienna. Savings about 10K. Okay, so as we know from baby steps, you save $1,000 and everything else you put on the freaking debt. So you would put that $9,000 from the savings onto the debt. House payment $1,800 a month. Total debt on that under $250K. Okay, we're not going to worry about that until step 6. Got some other stuff to do before then, my friend. At a point where I'm projecting I can pay it off faster in 2.5 years. Pay what off faster? The house or the... I do have need for a tractor where we live, as mine is 30 years old and beginning to show signs of failing. Are you a farmer? If you're not a farmer, you don't need a tractor. You don't need a tractor for doing 2 things with it a year. So yeah, I'm going to need some clarification on that before I'm signing off on that crap. And also, guess what? If that's your business, if you're a farmer as a business, then you grow businesses at the speed of cash. You do not finance a freaking tractor. I don't want to take out debt. Then you don't do it. And could possibly limp it along until the van is paid for. Or you can sell the freaking dumb van. Sell the freaking dumb van and get a different vehicle. A much cheaper, older, used car. But then be looking at 3 to 4 years to save up the cash for it when I can get a 0% interest loan. You know, I mean, you're going to do what you're going to do. But if you want the answers to this is sell the stupid van. And you're paying off your debt, and you're not getting a new tractor. Sorry. You're using that old tractor, and it shows signs of failing. Even though it's 30 years, it can be repaired. And again, unless you are a farmer, you don't need a tractor. What are you using the tractor for? I mean, you said household income $241,000. Where is all that money going? Where's all that money going? Take a look at your budget as well. How are such things balanced? They are 90% taking care of your financial problems, and only 10% the fun stuff and the living the now, or less than 10 even. 4 kids under 12, I feel like for me, it's going to be terribly difficult to get out of debt while being able to enjoy time with them. I mean, that's up to you. You can do the baby steps as slow as you want to. That's not the advice. So, I mean, you can keep... you managed to post here. So, that says you have at least some interest in getting out of debt. But you don't want to do sacrifice for it. Most people have to sacrifice for it. And, again, I'm going to need to see... I would need to see where all that money is going from. $241,000. The house payment is only $1,800 a month. If you sell the van, you don't have that payment anymore. So where's that all going? So doing a little bit of whining here, it sounds like to me. I don't know how many years I have, and none of us know. None of us know. But guess what? The less debt you have, if you die all of a sudden, the less debt you have, the better off your family is going to be. Don't want to spend their childhood working all the time to be able to pay cash for it all. Well, you're working anyway. Nobody even said anything about working extra yet. So, just so much justification station happening here. But I also don't like to be in debt. You won't make up your freaking mind. You can't do everything all at once with limited income. Although most people will tell you $241K with an $1,800 house payment is not limited income. You're just being dumb somehow. And I mean, if you're making that, being a farmer, that seems pretty good. And so you ought to be able to save up for maybe you don't get guess what? Maybe you don't get a new tractor. Maybe you get a old tractor. Maybe not 30 years old. Maybe get a 10 or 15-year-old one instead. People paint themselves in corners all the time when it's not necessary. Let's see. It's hard because I see all the expenses of colleges, cars, and weddings. Wah! You shouldn't have taken out the loan on the Sienna. You shouldn't have had other debt before that you had paid off by now, which great job on that, but you shouldn't have done that either. And wherever your money is going, that some of that expenses need to be cut out if you want to do college and cars and weddings and so forth over the next 10 to 15 years. Just don't see how I'll be able to do it. That means you got to cut out some of the crap you're doing with money. Is this something the financial planners can help with? No, not really. They help you plan what to do with your wealth. You don't have any wealth right now. You got debt. The one with debt so far seem focused on managing investments for a cut, but don't help with these types of things. Right. Thank you, Sam. That's right. And they generally don't help with that. You would need a financial coach, or you need to watch the Ramsey show every once in a while, and you would find out that you are the problem. And in this case, I'm going to blame the budget. I'm going to blame that you're eating out a lot or something. The money's going somewhere other than to the freaking van and to that house payment. $241,000 a year. So you're doing it wrong. How many? 36? I'm just put a capper on there. The most recent comment is one from the OP original poster. Feedback to know I'm not in a loan. Advice been helpful. Make the mistake of jumping into a new tractor, right? That would be the dumbest thing you could do. Since I can work on my own equipment, I make adjustments to best fix the tractor I have and continue with it while setting aside budget for a future tractor. Should I need work again? What is it that you're doing with a tractor? How many days a week are you using that? So let's see. Should I need work that mine can't handle? I'll rent one for the weekend. Since that shouldn't be often. See? Create account for every dollar. Great. Shifting the budget. Great. Biggest expense is school and daycare, which runs about $2,400 a month. All right. Well, that's some of it per month, but still, you're still missing a lot of money. Closely monitoring things to recalibrate. That shouldn't take that long. And you don't need to monitor it using every dollar. You can look at your bank account or your bank statement and you can go through it for last month. Get June's. You can get June's right now and look through it. Get a red pen and go through it and say, oh, that was dumb to spend that on that. That was dumb to spend that on that when we have this freaking van payment. That was dumb. That was dumb. That was dumb. That was dumb. And then you don't budget them for the next month. You don't spend that in this month or August. Whenever you adjust that. So we can pay down debt faster on the car. And you said it's a van, right? Not a car. So people truck. Some people switch all the time. They like prefer even a truck. They'll say it's a car payment or something like that. But I'm not seeing anything else about a car. So 21-year-old car died and we purchased that with the intent to keep it for 20 years. Justification station. Dumb excuse that, well, we'll keep it for 20 years so it's okay to finance it. Nope. Is not. Is not. You're doing it wrong. Watch some Ramsey show. You'll figure it out eventually. You say, oh. Because a lot of times what I think some people may do is watch the show and then somebody calls up and they say like stuff that they're spending money on and people are like, Ha! That's dumb. They shouldn't be spending money on that. And then you think, oh, we're spending money on dumb stuff too. And they might get it that way. So that's what I could recommend for doing that. And, FPU would not hurt. And, the 231,000 with just daycare, 2,400 and 1,800 for the mortgage and the van payment. You can afford FPU for your spouse and yourself. So maybe that might help as well. But yeah, there's some stuff you're paying for that apparently that is not causing that van to be paid off quite quickly enough. And again, you can take care of that immediately by selling it and getting a much older used car. Fear of failing. Hi all. Hi guys. Just needed out to vent. We've been on a journey of paying off debt. Just paid off our car 3 months ago. We are working on our debt of student loans and some remaining medical debt from our childbirth last September. That was until June came when my 9-month-old had an ER visit, which hammered out my high deductible health payment HDHP. I don't know if all those letters are right. It's a high deductible health plan out of pocket, but was expected as why I chose that type of plan, so I can have an HSA, right? Yep. And know my max out of pocket for the year. Great. As we all know, the unexpected is what gets us, and now we may have another fairly large medical bill coming. Baby step 2 flare that I I'm struggling to prepare. I do understand sticking to the basics of baby step 2 and listing out all of the debts. Yep. Where does medical debt fall into this when you have a HSA? Do I just keep funding the minimum payments on the medical debt and using my HSA? Yep. Medical debt is more than I can contribute for the year. Do I start to hammer it down using post-tax money? I feel like all the progress I made paying off our car and other debts was just wiped away within a few weeks. Appreciate the help. Yeah, you can if you owe a medical facility, you can work out payments with them to take care of that. But you would still try to take care of that and get out of debt as soon as possible. So, but you can still keep filling up the HSA. If you are going to be having if you're spending that much in medical every year, then there's no harm in doing that because you got to pay for that anyway. Doing away with escrow, difficult and middle. 2116. I've decided to do away with the escrow on my primary residence. I received a 3 annual escrow analysis statements in the last 2 years. I don't know how that's annual. Well, if they're in the last 2 years, they should be for 3 different years. And maybe you just got it at the end of the second year, which would cover the third year as well. I don't know. I don't know how that works. To me, it makes more sense to reduce my mortgage payment and send the escrow portion to a high yield savings account where I'll get a return on it if my taxes and insurance are going to increase. Yeah, you can do that unless the mortgage requires that you have that stuff in escrow. So that's up to you. Sometimes you don't get the choice on that. Or you may have to refinance it to a different lender so that they let you do that. Let's say if taxes and insurance are going to increase, I'd prefer to have those increases invested and earning compound interest. I have a rental property as well. I may do the same with it as well and divide the high yield savings account into buckets so I can track the tax insurance payments. Yeah, again, that's fine as long as you aren't required to have escrow for that particular loan. Boom, 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 boom. And also, should not be having a mortgage on rental property. So you're doing it wrong. Or whether I'm keeping the rental or selling it. But if I relist it for rent, this will be my strategy. Thoughts? Again, it depends on what the lender's, the loan agreement has in it. So some of them require escrow. In that case, you cannot get out of it unless you ask them if you can change it to where you can handle it. Maybe they'll let you. And if not, then you can always try to refinance it and take it to a different lender and see if they will make you do escrow or not. Okay, Cream 431, is chiropractor a bad career? No, I don't think so. Although I'm from a country where a chiropractor is not a thing, but I have an American cousin who wants to be one, okay? Whenever Dan Ramsey hears this, his caller is a chiropractor, he always sounds disappointed and sad as being a chiropractor. Bad medical job? I don't think so. He may just not like them. May have had bad experience with one. I do not know. Can someone explain to me why he acts like that? No, I don't know. It does seem like a lot of them call where they, they go through the training and so forth, and then they take out loans and stuff to create their business. Renting a space or buying a space for an office, and they do all that on debt. And so, I guess it's not as prestigious as being a medical doctor, but they certainly do help out some people. And so I don't think it's a bad career. I don't know specifically. You'd have to ask Dave about why he does not like them. Apparently, like you're saying, he sounds disappointed. He may, because when they tell him how much their training costs, their education costs to be a chiropractor, he may be expecting medical doctor, because there's not going to be as much money in chiro as medical doctoring. TravelBot, buying new construction house. People always want to buy land and they always want to get a new construction. And you're going to be paying more money for that most of the time. Because all the time there's an estimate. It's always going to come in over the estimate. Hey all. Hi guys. Looking for some financial advice. I currently live in a very small house. A very, very, very fine house. 30-year mortgage. When did Dave say to do a 30-year mortgage? He did not ever say that. Because my partner's parents are going to live with us. Doing it wrong. We are looking at building a house in the next year or two. Doing it wrong. And when it is ready to rent out our current house, doing it wrong. Doing it all wrong. Everything you're doing here is bad. Our income is $135K with single income. My partner will likely go back to work when the house is construction. Okay, so you're saying likely. Does the partner think likely as well? And the in-laws move in. We predict another 50 to 60K a year. You see how easy that is? We'll likely go back to work, and you didn't say maybe 50 to 60 a year. You're counting on that already, and so you're doing it wrong again. So much doing it wrong. And I think it is maybe too much. Oh, the only thing is the new house will have an escrow payment of around $4,000 to $4,500 a month, and I think it may be too much. Yeah. Hey, guess what? Don't do a new construction house. Stay in your current house and pay that one off. Another thing is we don't have much to put down. Yeah. I'm considering cash out. No. Everything, it just keeps getting worse. You keep going through here and you're doing more of things that Dave does not advise. Is building a new house a good plan or a bad plan for us? Bad. What about cashing out the Roth IRA? Bad. Any suggestions are appreciated. Don't do any of this stuff. Don't have in-laws move in. Don't have a 30-year mortgage. I mean, you already got it now. So you can just pay it off quicker. And you can pay that off quicker if you don't get a freaking new construction house because you think you have to get a bigger house because the in-laws are moving in. How about you stay in your small house, which is fine for you and your partner? How about that? How about that? Yeah, you're doing it wrong. Everything you're doing here is bad. How about watch the show a little bit, read the baby steps, and I mean, I know you might think, well, we don't we're not involved in that because this doesn't apply to us because we want to do all this stuff, and I don't know how we can do that. And exactly, that means you shouldn't do it. If you can't fit your life into the baby steps, that means you're doing it wrong. So yeah, everything you're doing there is bad. I want you to know this. Revolutionary Farm 80, 75-year-old mom asked me to handle her finances. Not sure this is the best sub to ask in. This is as good as any, probably. But I would like some input. Phrasing. Personally, I'm on the baby step 4, 5, and 6 of the Dave R plan. Great. 75-year-old mom has been declining cognitively for the last couple of years. And last night, she asked me to start managing her money for her. I'm trying to figure out the best way to go about her income, $2,500 a month, Social Security, and $460 a month pension. Right, and so this is a perfect example of what Dave means, and why Dave only counts the pension as half of the a percent. Like if you're putting 10% of your income towards your pension a month, you only get to count that as half, as 5% of the 15 that he wants you investing into retirement, because the pension rate of return is nowhere near what the market is. The market's going to be much better, and so that's why you can only count that as half. So, but anyway, so that's still $3,000 a month. Yeah, about 3,000 total. She has zero savings. Yeah, that's not good. She's been spending every dollar she has every month, so that needs. Yep, that will change once I start managing. Yep, obviously I'm going to keep money aside for four walls, right? Right, and there's no fun spending, no time. You don't have the money for it. Don't have the budget for it. I'll use an envelope system for everything else. Yep, just take care of all the expenses, and there's no fun money for that. I knew for a while that she's a shopping addiction, of course. Love the TV stores, credit card and maxed out. Oh, she got credit cards too. Yeah, so there's no spending on anything for her anymore. Yeah, mom will die before she pays this off, maybe. She'll live at my home or be able to purchase another car. Heck, she can barely drive the one she has. Can her Social Security and other pension be garnished for these debts? That's a good question. I don't think so. I don't know. Let's see. Can pension and Social Security be garnished? Let's see what the AI overview is. In general, they're exempt from garnishment, but there are some exceptions. Secretary of Treasury can garnish Social Security benefit to collect delinquent federal taxes and child support, but not just for regular debt, I'm thinking. So, let's see what it says about pensions. Well, Social Security, yeah, cannot be garnished, just the Department of Treasury, so don't be late on taxes, definitely. So that looks like the only thing that can be. Let's just do pension, since we know Social Security can't now. And it is always fun to learn things. I like going through these questions, especially when I can answer them, obviously, because some of them I don't know the answers to. But then on stuff like this that I look up, and then we both learn. So it's a good day. They can be. Debt collectors can usually have difficulty seizing pensions, but they can get a court order to garnish money from a bank or credit union account. Oh, okay, I get it. Debt collector hasn't gone to court, maybe possible reach out a court agreement. Yeah, okay, so I get it now. So they can't get the pension, but if you have the deposit, if you have the pension deposited in mother's bank account, they can garnish the bank account. So that's interesting. Yep. Consult a lawyer, exactly. As always, I am not one, so I just Googled it. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see. I'd rather just let them go to collection so she can never use credit again. Yeah, that way, that, or we may see if she can get a debt consolidation loan to drop payment amounts as much as possible, better manage all our bills. Any input for helping aging parents with their money is appreciated. Yeah, I mean, you just do the best you can with it. If you think she doesn't have a chance of paying it off, even settling, because if they're in collections, which they may not be yet in collections. If they are already in collections, you can try to settle, of course. Remy Indie Brain. All right. And yes, he opened up the page, but can't see the chat. There we go. All right. On baby step 3, how do I organize money to save for a coaching certification? You do not. On baby step 3, you are still intense. You are not going out to eat. You're not saving up money for a coaching certification. You're not doing that. Baby step 3 is your emergency fund. Being ready for emergencies is more important than becoming a financial coach or going out to eat. And want to be a coach, might already have known that, but guess not. Baby step 3, currently have 6,000 out of about 11,000. I'm saving for 5 months expenses. Okay, why 5? 5 is weird. I mean, it's fine, but are you thinking about the 1 month so you can do coaching certification earlier? Is that why? So, I mean, because you want to do a purchase is not a reason to move the amount of the months of the emergency fund from 6 to 5, for example. So if you're fine, I mean, 3 is even fine if you don't have any dependents and you don't have a house and there's no life or job drama, then 3 months is fine. But the fact that you want to buy something always makes me a little bit suspicious. Totes sus. And so, again, which is concerning for a future coach. Possible coach. Part of my long-term goal is to create a health coaching business and health coaching. Okay, how dare me consider that it be a financial coaching? My bad. That is my bad. Okay, so 2, health coaching certification to legitimize myself in that field. Certification is somewhere in the realm of 1,000 to 1,500, depending on the program type. My question is, where within the baby steps, particularly baby steps 3, do I pull from to spend on this certification expense? Is it okay no, that's going to be a step 4 thing, dog. Baby step 3, is more important than a certification. So baby step 3 that's where you do the full emergency fund, and that's where most of your financial peace comes from. And so that is much more important than doing that certification. I know, everybody thinks that, well, I'm going to get this certification and that's going to just start going to rain in money on me. then. And so then everything will be great. No, you have to be in a position with the full emergency fund. And then on top of that, you also have the 1,000 to 1,500 to blow on the certification, just in case it doesn't bring back jack squat. So, but if it doesn't, you're still fine with that. You only are out of your time for that. Not actually any money that's part of your financial piece. It's just extra money that you could have put elsewhere, but you wanted to try going into business for yourself, and that's fine to do. But again, only on step 4. So the rest of it is. Or do I have to save additional money outside of that to spend on the expense? Yeah, I don't see anything on here. Grow your $1,000 savings in 3 to 6 months of living expenses for your fully funded emergency fund. But if you want to use some of it for a certification or other business thing, you can. No, it doesn't say that there. I think in general, I'm a little confused about saving up for big expenses like this. No, you're not confused. You just want to do it wrong. I mean, it's not that difficult to see because it doesn't say spend some of this money on something. It doesn't say that. I mean, what it needs to say apparently for this person is grow $1,000 savings. And actually, let's use the Ramsey one because on the Ramsey subreddit, they have changed it a little bit. So it says save 30 to 6 months of expenses in a fully funded emergency fund. And you need it to also say, and don't spend any of this money on any crap that's not an emergency. Don't spend it on some kind of business you want to create or a certification that you think you need. It's fine to get one, and you may make a lot of money with that certification. It could happen, but you can't count on that. So that's not 100% going to happen. And so that's why you have to have all the debt paid off and your full emergency fund saved. And then, yeah, the thing flew into my eye again. Or in front of my face, rather. That's why you have to have the full emergency fund done before you start saving up extra money to do some stuff like that. Do we just make an item in our budget for fund savings rather than emergency fund savings? Big expenses like this is more fun. Yeah, you don't do that at the same time as step 3. That's why you do that after. Also, you do not save for the full emergency fund at the same time as doing baby step 3B, which is down payment for a house either. You wait until you get the full emergency fund first, and then you start saving for the down payment. The emergency fund is never part of the down payment. People want things right now, and so they love to spend the emergency fund on stuff. Or try to not do the emergency fund and instead put money during that step to other things like health certifications or something like that. Dr. Pibb, MD. I did Ramsey Solutions Certified Financial Coach certification, but I did that after step 3 had been done. And I also did it when I got all of the money required for it in a nice little check from the U.S. Treasury, known as the Biden bucks. That was the Trump stimulus money got sent out, and then of course Biden's going to do some too. And Biden did slightly more than Trump did, of course. And so, but that money that came in right at the same time that the certification, the coach training was half off, and it was the lowest it had been in years, I think. And so I thought, well, if I don't do it right now, I'll never do it. So since I was in position to be able to do it, having no debt and having a full emergency fund, I said, oh, do it. It was like Michael Caine to every movie he's ever been pitched. I'll do it. Let's see. Pay off approximately. $129,000 mortgage or purchase another home. No. No more. You can only do mortgages on your first home, my friend. Pay off 129K mortgage or purchase another home. Have a rental property. Yep, that's a no-no too. You're doing it wrong. 5.75% rate. Currently being rented at $1,900. I'm gonna pay $1,000 a month for a mortgage. All right, and that's fine. So you're making $900 profit a month until something breaks, till the roof caves in or whatever. I have enough money sitting in a high yield savings account to pay the mortgage off, but I'm contemplating purchasing another home. Nope. You pull that money out of the high yield savings account, you pay that off, and then with the no mortgage, then you are making $1,900 a month profit in that. And then you save that up, and then you buy another rental property with cash. And I plan to rent it out if I purchase another. Oh, okay. You want to buy another one, and that's the way the kids love to do it. They love to have their home, and then when they decide they want a bigger one, then they say, well, I'll just rent this one out too. So there's no mortgages on multiple houses. There's no doing that. And so you're only allowed a mortgage on your first house, and then you're supposed to not use a mortgage to upgrade. You're only supposed to use equity in the other house. And you can, of course, save up a down payment. So that's not doing a mortgage for it. That's you saving up the payments in advance that you would be paying on the mortgage and just buying it outright cash. I'm looking in the 400 to 550,000 range. Of course you are, which would be 25, 35. I'm leaning more towards paying the mortgage to have a feeling of some freedom. What would you do? Yeah. And you wouldn't be trying to keep having new houses all the time unless you pay cash. Cash is how you do that. Cash on the barrelhead. Pay off the student loan? The answer is yes. Running CPA. My wife and I have one student loan left as our last debt. Following the Ramsey plan. Excellent. It's $7,500. Doesn't matter the interest rate. Does not matter. Don't give a flip about it. And it is reimbursed by my wife's employer. Don't give a flip about that either. Is it worth it to pay it off for the mental factor? Yes. Of having no debt? Yes. Or should we hang on to it? No. Until it's either paid or my wife leaves her job because of the free reimbursement? No. You pay it off. It doesn't say on there pay off all debts from smallest to largest using the debt snowball method unless your employer will pay it off by $100 a month. So $1,200 a year. So if you're waiting for them to pay it off, that's 6 years. Yeah, no, that's a no. That's a no, dog. That's a no from Dave. Not going to Hollywood on that idea. Pay it off. Dual passport. Which specific mutual funds? I love these people. Does anyone have any examples of the specific mutual funds that they have been recommended by SmartVestor Pros? In the 4 categories they often speak of on the show. Want somebody to tell him how to do it. Rather than learning how to do it by himself or him paying for something for a SmartVestor Pro, he wants somebody else that has paid for the SmartVestor Pros or who have done the research themselves to tell him the good mutual funds to get. So that's a no. If you're not smart enough to figure it out yourself, then you have to pay for that. I don't know, 23 comments, maybe somebody told him some funds, who knows. And also, the good thing about Reddit is somebody could also told him some very bad funds as well. So hopefully he doesn't, or she, invest in that. If they were fronting. SpikeJet, Bane. Curious what you do in my situation. The lowdown, 11K 6-month emergency funds saved. Excellent. 7K saved in high yield savings account for various sinking funds, maxing out Roth IRA. a bit behind, sitting at 17K and just turned 34. Would you allocate funds to my mortgage? Yes. If you are already doing 15%, then you also have to do at the same time steps 5 and 6, which is save for kids' college, if that's applicable, meaning you have kids and you want to help them with college. And if you have a mortgage, that mortgage has to be paid off before you invest 1 cent more than 15% into retirement. So, no, you would not invest more in retirement per year. It's going to be 15% of your gross income. So you can do 15% out of each check as well. That would equal the same amount of money. But anything extra would go to address kid college if that's applicable, and to pay off mortgage since you do have one. Remaining balance $1,425. Yep. I feel comfortable with 18K in savings. Okay. Frugal monthly expenses do not. 1750. I failed to mention that my mortgage is my only debt and my income fluctuates between 48K and 51K depending on what would Dave do. Dave would do the baby steps, which is why he wrote them out for you. And so it says 15%. It doesn't say, or if you're behind, you can do more instead of doing the baby steps like I wrote them. It doesn't say that there. It does not say that there. Business side, 5467, car bad luck advice. 41, I have a wife and 3 kids. My wife stays home, and I bring in $160,000 a year. So you shouldn't have any problems because you make 3 figures a year. So, or 6 figures rather, 3 figures before the comma, 6 figures in all. So you make 6 figures, so you should have no problems whatsoever. Most people think. Our only debt is a mortgage, and we'll have a healthy retirement account. I have 25K in emergency funds. My wife has been driving a 2005 Lexus SUV with 180,000 miles. We just upgraded to a 2013 Honda Odyssey minivan. We purchased cash. Okay, great. What's the problem? I drive between 25 and 30,000 miles a year for my job. Ever since starting Dave Ramsey program, purchased vehicles in cash. But looking back at my last 2 vehicles, I'm not sure what I'm doing makes financial sense. What is it that you're doing? You're definitely buying cash. That way you don't have a problem with it being, if you have problems with them, then you can just replace, you get them fixed, or you replace them. And they're not financed, so you don't have to be worried about being underwater on them. I just don't remember many of the details. This happened with 2 cars prior. I don't remember any of the detail. In June, all right, let's see. Oh my goodness. In June 2018, 2007 Chevrolet Silverado 9,000 miles. Too many details here. I kept it until November 20. At that time, I had a blown engine. Okay, that part we needed to know. You could say first vehicle, blown engine, front differential, locked up AC, or you just don't have AC. Instead of fixing that, other things replace brake or alternator. Oh, can replace brakes and alternators himself. Cool. Or herself. I think it's a man, though. I finally sold it because it was costing so much money, and we're about to have a 3rd child, so we needed more room. So you got to get the minivan at that point, right? You have to. It's a law. When you look at the 53 months I own, I spent $481 a month. Take out what I sold it for, $7K. I paid $348 a month. Okay. Since we were about to have a 3rd child, I thought it best to get a 3-row SUV. Of course you did. Because each child needs their own row, right? I bought a 2013 GMC Acadia base model with 100,000 miles on it. Since November 22, I've spent $6K on a transmission. Yeah, I mean, you just have bad car luck. So are you having your mechanic check these out before you buy them, is what I would say. If you're buying them from a dealer, do not do that. Do buy private sale. And they always like to give you, instead of saying what should I do, they like to give you A, B, C, or D. And it's probably going to be D. Other suggestions, let's see. Keep it till it dies. even if I have to keep putting money in it. It depends on what goes wrong with it. If it's going to cost just a little bit to fix whatever's wrong with it, then fix it and keep going. Keep it and buy a like 10,000K Civic or Accord. No, you don't need to have an Acadia around and then also an emergency car as well. You don't need to do that. 2 or 3 year old car with 50K miles and finance some of it. No, financing is not going to be the answer. Financing some of it is not going to be the answer anyway, okay? And you can't compare your breakdown of how much you spent on it, which could be your fault for not getting rid of it sooner. I mean, you're the one that chose to spend 6K on a transmission, 1K on an alternator, and that you couldn't, that alternator they couldn't fix because you had to drop exhaust and all, so it didn't have the equipment, I guess. Also had a tune-up done, so of course include the tune-up. Duh, you're gonna have to have the tune-up no matter if you financing or any vehicle. But because you didn't get rid of it fast enough, you can't just take if you overspent on repairs on a vehicle, you can't just say, well, that would be the same as if I was paying this month a month on debt. No, it's not, because you never had any debt on it. And so to compare it to that is you're being intellectually dishonest with yourself, I like to call that. Planning on a 4th child, and both need the ability to transport children. I want to have access to a 3-row vehicle other than my wife's van. You do not need that. You know why? Because if you need to transport the children, then you can drive the van that day. People love to try to find a way to spend extra money that they don't have to spend. Dumb. So, yeah. So, I mean, even bringing up the, should I finance it? And you're on the Ramsey subreddit. I don't know if you're familiar. If anybody watching this, if you're new and you don't know who Dave Ramsey is, or if you only heard of him a few times, he's the no debt guy. There's not going to be debt recommended for anything. He will not yell at you if it's for a mortgage on your residence. No mortgages for rental properties. For business stuff, you pay cash for everything. No business loans. There's no other loans or anything like that for anything. No student loans either. No debt is the idea. And so he's the no debt guy. And so that's not going to be a car loan ever. There's not ever going to be a time where he says, get a car loan. 400th. Oh my God. All right. Frustrated Canadian, eh? I'll be debt free and earn over 1,000K a year, but still be unable to afford a house. Well, I mean, depends on what area you live in. The Canada can be expensive. Basics, 32-year-old female, live in Toronto. Yeah, not the cheapest. Debt free. I mean, you're better off than you would be if you had debt. But that still doesn't mean you can buy a $500,000 house. 35K, save for emergencies, no other assets. Start a new job. 94K a year, Canadian aid. Okay, so max out at 110K a year within 2 years. Okay, so let me go ahead and give you the 100. So that means you can buy what is that? 100 times 2.5, $250,000 house is what you can afford. So you're not buying a 4. You can buy a $300,000 house, and now you get that you save extra for the down payment, so that you only have a $250,000 mortgage is the most you can afford using Davy's guidelines. It's just whatever your income is times 2.5 is approximately the amount. Just started contributing pension matching with my employer. Love my job and intend to work here permanently. Great. I do have the opportunity for overtime if I feel like working more. You do. If you're complaining about not being able to afford something, then yes, you do want to work overtime. What is the dealio with that? When I don't work overtime, I work on low risk personal projects like publishing apps, expense. That's great to have side hustles too. Yeah. Do overtime in the side hustles. Let's see. Rent $700 a month, 500 a month for that, 50 for sales, subscriptions 40, prescriptions 20, rent insurance 20, transportation 200 a month. No vehicle of your own? No vehicle of your own, though. Going out 300 a month. Well, you want a house or you want to go out for 300 a month? Short-term savings. What's short-term savings for? Might be a sinking fund. I will go ahead and give her the benefit of the doubt. Clothing is 50. Wear the same clothes you have now. You don't need to spend $50 a month on clothing. Not even females do need to do that. Personal. What's the personal for? That's the, you got going out money and personal as well, and household. Didn't say single. So that's 2280. You can cut some of that out. Let's see, as a maximum off under budget for several categories. Well, that's great. Turn bus pass plus the occasional Uber. Try to keep the occasional Uber down to a minimum. 5,000 after, so that's 2720 extra a month, so about almost 50%. So, and you could cut it down to where it would be exactly 50%, and then you can put that towards down payment. So it's not going to happen as fast as it would if you made more money, obviously, but let's see, don't want a car. I can't drive for a disability. Okay, that's fine. No children, fine. Don't have to. Travel, homebody, great. Or a wedding, great. Things I do want, to live by myself, no roommate, that's fine. You're doing that now, so that's taken care of. Just because it's not in a house, it may not be able to be in a house. To have 1-2 dogs, no pets right now. Don't want a condo or home, and that's certainly possible. To retire in 60s, 50s if it works out, not a goal, great. It probably won't since you didn't start already. Said 40, 32. Oh, only 32, so you never know. It's possible if you commit to renting the rest of your life, maybe, but if you're going to try to get that, because then you can do more investing instead, retirement investing. But if you're going to try to be getting in a house, that's going to take money away from investing. So it's up to you to decide that, though. Yeah, however, modest condos are $500,000, so it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to save up a $250,000 mortgage payment. Down payment, excuse me. $250,000 down payment to buy a $5,000. And detached homes, $1.2 million, that's definitely not going to happen. Average rent in Toronto is about $2,400. I'm paying about a third of market rent right now. You keep that as long as you can and pile up cash if you want to buy a house. It's up to you. Despite being debt-free and earning a relatively high income, it's not. Not when you compare it to a $500,000 condo. It's not. Toronto too high of a cost of living, apparently. What about the outskirts of Toronto? Feels out of reach. I cannot drive to okay, impractical to purchase a home in a neighboring city and commute. I got it, okay. But because of your disability limitations and the other limitations that you're putting on it yourself, that you don't get a pass. There's no magic to fix all of this stuff for you. You have to embrace the reality of your situation and then make decisions on that. Comparable decision outside the city would also result in nearly 50% pay cut. So yeah, I mean, I get it, but the best thing for you to do might be rent. You are the one that has to decide that. But anyway, even though I'm debt free and earning above average income, I don't think you are. Or everybody that's buying those houses are overfinancing them. Or only the ones that are making a decent income are buying it. But I don't think that's above average income, my friend. Saving for a down payment, it feels almost impossible. How? You're only spending 50% of your net. You have net 50 available to put towards the down payment. Granted, again, it's not going to be a $250,000 one, so you can get a $5,000 modest condo. So I don't see that happening either. So you might want to just give up on that. Taxes super high here too. Yeah. Don't live in that city is the answer. But if you are going to put the limitation that you have to stay there in the city and you have to work that job, then you might just have to rent. Yeah, I'm scared that I might be 40 years old before I save enough to have 20% for a down payment. It can't even be 20%. It has to be half of it. Because that's too much mortgage for you to have. That's too much of a mortgage payment for you to have. In order for your mortgage payment to be within Dave's guidelines, and which are there to keep you from being house poor, you have to have a $250,000 down payment for that. So it's only a $250,000 mortgage. So let's see. But I'm more scared of permanent renter. Well, you get to pick the poison. So that means you don't you don't get to do anything. And what do we have here? Subscriptions, short-term clothing. You're wearing clothing until if it has a couple holes in it, you can just say that's the style now. You stop spending every single cent except things that are necessities. I don't see anything crazy here. $500 a month. $500 a month might be a little much. See if you can cut that down at least a little. It's $450, $400 a month. See if you can cut that down. And the subscriptions, 40. It's up to you. You can decide to not cut anything, but that's going to make it take longer. So the decision's got to be up to you. So, but there's no magic button. How can we fix it if a person thinks they're making an above average income? And it may actually be above average income, but that means very, very few, even people that make above average income, cannot buy these houses because it's ridiculous. It's made their house poor. And so, let's put a room with a room, but I'm getting tired of sharing a space. See, all of this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And I do want to do this. And I do want to do this. And I do want to do this. When you start putting that many parameters on it, you're locking yourself into the situation, which is either you save up $250,000 for a down payment, or you keep renting forever, is the advice here, that you choose between those two things. The rent won't last forever. Landlord aging. When he dies, the kids will definitely want to sell the home, which puts me at risk of the rent. And so you're in that situation. You can milk it while you can. If I'm still in 5 years, I will be happy. I've saved so much. But I'm going bonkers living with someone who has a different standard of cleanliness. Oh, okay, so you even have a roommate right now. Yeah. And so you are the one that gets to make all these decisions. Sorry. Some of them are, and the more limitations you put onto it, because you can't drive, I understand it's because of your disability, but that's, again, a limitation that is put on it. The stuff you don't want to spend money on is great, but then, to live by yourself, again, that's gonna make you have to save up more money. To own the condo, the home, I don't think is happening if they're starting at 1.2 million. That is not gonna happen. I mean, that would, I mean, you'd have to save forever for that to happen. Condo is within reach, but again, you have to save $250,000. That is what? That's going to be 100 months. You say 2,500. Yeah, that's 100 months. So, how many years is that? What's that? Nine? No, eight something, 8 point something years of saving. And so, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. And in 8 years, the condos could be up higher. So, something's got to break on this. You got to be able to cut your expenses more or make more money. And you said you are doing personal project like publishing apps and stuff like that. So, you can do that more and make more money with that because the 100K that you're making now approximately is, like I said, is only going to contribute to at most 2,500 a month to put towards that down payment. And while you're saving that up, the place is still going to get more expensive around you. So it's just too many limitations that you have on yourself and things that you are choosing as limitations. So all that combined with banks will let you get a mortgage for more than you should have, but Dave just tries to put guidelines on you so you don't buy too much house. So you may want to check out other areas, maybe far from there, where you can earn maybe the same income or close to the same income, but not be in that high cost of a living area. But yeah, there's no magic button for when you live in a high cost of living area and do not make a high cost of living salary. All right. Free girl, advice on buying a year of service credit and pension? No. Hello, I'm 60 years old. I work in state government and intend to retire in about 2 years. Right now, I have the option of buying 1 year of additional service credit. I receive an additional $3,000 per year for my life in pension if you did this. No, you should invest that money anyway. Anything that you are putting towards the pension right now only counts as half towards the 15% because pensions don't result in as much as the market does. And so that would be a waste. So instead of putting that money into the pension, you would put that money into the market where it can continue generating money and more money than a pension will generate. Tangerine Melodic 5772. I made a mistake and bought an older house before having zero debt and a great emergency fund. That is a mistake. So look here, people. Turns out Dave's advice is pretty good to not do this crap. A single guy, 43 years old, bought a house in 2015 for $108K. Currently owe $78K. I also have about $16K in student loans at 5.56%. We know he's doing it wrong. He already admitted it in the title. That's good. Just admit it in the title. And I'll take it a lot easier on you. My take-home pay fluctuates because I'm hourly and RN, but my mortgage payment is less than 25% of my monthly take-home pay. Great. That part is great. I also contribute 7% to my doing it wrong because the student loan should be paid off before you are investing for retirement. So you're doing it wrong. If I follow Dave's baby steps, I should tackle the student loan first. Yeah. I'm going to be signing up for extra shifts at the hospital and canceling my subscription services, eating out, etc. to do this. I tried dieting. Where is it? Is he going to ask if he's the exception to doing it because he knows, figured it out. If I follow Dave's baby step, I should tackle these student loans first. Exactly. Where end of question. So I'm gonna do that. Thanks, guys. Bye. But let's see. Extra trips to the hospital, canceling subscription, eating out, etc. to do this. Excellent. Tried signing up for personal student loans forgiveness. Or is that private student loan forgiveness? No, personal. But it's such a mess right now, I'm not going to wait to see what happens. Indeed. Too many of those are getting rejected. With that said, since I'm already in the house that will eventually need more repairs, should I also be building up that emergency fund? What percentage of take-home pay generally goes to an emergency fund? Thanks for your advice. Okay, so again, they go buy what they want to do, and then they read the baby steps, buy what they want to do. So figured out that what he should do is tackle the student loans first, okay? And so that means you're not investing any for retirement. That means you're not putting any extra in the emergency fund. That means you're only doing step 2, paying off your dumb, stupid debt. Those student loans apparently are the only ones that you have. So, but you do need to get that $16K paid off. And so what would Dave do is tell you you're not the exception, and there's not a percentage of take-home pay that generally goes to an emergency fund. It does not work like that. I don't see anything here where it should make you think that it works like that, but you want it to work like that so you can do the steps the way you want them to do. The way you want to do them, excuse me. All right. So that's paying off all the debt first. And then once you get that paid off, you should only have $1,000 in savings. You stop contributing to the Roth. You stop contributing to the 401k. Even the match, it's just temporarily while you pay off all your debt and then save the full emergency fund. So pay off the debt. And once all the debt's paid off, then all your money that was going into paying off the student loans now goes into payments for yourself, and you're paying yourself in the form of the emergency fund, and you put all of that money in the emergency fund until you have the number of months you've decided on, 3 to 6 months, since you have a mortgage and you said you're going to be needing more repairs. You would do a 6-month emergency fund. So save that 6 month of emergency fund. And then, so that's not a percentage of take-home pay that goes to it. That's your snowball money. All your extra money goes to that to fill that up as fast as you can. Should still be gazelle at this point. No subscriptions, no eating out, etc. Just like you said. And once you get all that done, then you can start the investing again. And then you can start saving extra for home repairs if you think you need to do that. Yeah, so that's how you do it. So again, you don't decide what you want to do first and then see if it fits in the baby steps. If you decide what you want to do first and it doesn't matter what the baby steps say, then you don't need to post on asking anybody what they think about it. And especially putting what would Dave do flair, you know darn well what Dave would do. And if you think that you should be putting some of your take-home pay to the emergency fund every week out of every check, then I don't know how your brain thinks then, because I don't see that anywhere here where it says to, and keep adding to it while you're paying off debt. Keep adding to it, even though it's at 3 to 6 months of expenses. It does not say any of that stuff. So I don't get people sometimes, a lot of times. Let's say a lot of times. That would be more like, it's closer to the truth to say you can't get enough. You know you're gonna have to face it. You're addicted to... Okay. Mutual now. Spousal. 401k contribution. Spouse doesn't intend on any job, but mainly our homemaker. Her yearly income is below the 401k max contribution. Okay. File our taxes together, but can I contribute to her solo 401k tax to max it out? Or K to max it out? Also, what is the maximum she can contribute to her 401k based off of income? Or does it make more sense to create a management LLC and pay her through that end to be able to contribute? No, there's no need to do all that. That I don't know. On the spousal IRA, spousal Roth IRA, she would be limited to the Roth limit per year. Let's see what spousal 401k limit. 2024, each spouse can contribute up to $23,000 to the 401k or up to $46,000 as a couple. Okay. So if you're doing it, if you're filing together, then you can just do 46,000. If both spouses are over 50, they can contribute different 50. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yep. So if you're already filing together, you just can do up to, you can do 23,000 each. Let me see if for a spouse, up to 23,000 401k. Maximum spousal. There we go. IRA. That's IRA. Yeah, that's if it's an IRA, not a spousal 401k. Is there a... on their behalf or someone else contribute to your 401k, it is possible you fund an individual retirement account that doesn't belong to you. Yeah, spousal IRA. So there may not be a spousal 401k. Spousal consent 401k. Agreement by the spouse of a married participant to an action by the participant that affects the participant qualified. That just changes that account. That doesn't. Spousal 401k. Many plans require that the spouse is the yeah. So it doesn't look like there is one, dog. You probably meant spousal IRA, and so you are limited to the, if over 50, you can do 7,000 a year on the IRAs, and that would be a Roth thing is what would be recommended. Alrighty. Let's just start that again. Alrighty, you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation with me. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And you can do that at calendly.com/coachstevemoney. You can email me, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Channel donations can go to paypal.me/coachstevemoney. Alternatively, the Cash App at $CoachSteveMoney. Or Walmart gift card to coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Excuse me. Upcoming streams would be this show is answering your financial questions, and that is Saturdays and Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So the next one will be tomorrow, Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And of course, the Ramsey Show after show. And the next one is Wednesday, July 17th, approximately 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment, and of course, make smart financial decisions every day.